Hello everyone, and welcome to this week's video. Today I wanted to go over some key points for your midterm tomorrow. So let's get started. Okay, so I think the connectives, the conditional, is definitely the most challenging conditional. So I wanted to lay out basically all these translations to remind you guys how it's basically translated so you don't get confused on the exam. So this is from your slides. Basically, if you see if A, then B, then you don't change the order, you just take it as is. A, arrow, B. Okay, so that's the most simple one. But if you see B, if A, then you flip it and you do A, arrow, B. Okay? Again, B provided that A, you flip it. B, when A, you flip it again. Okay? So this one, the B only if A, this one is a little bit tricky. So the only if, take it as if it's like an if-then statement. Don't change the order, just take it as is, so B, arrow, A. Again, if I give you A only if B, take it as is, just put A, arrow, B. Okay? And then the B unless A, just memorize it. Honestly, that was the most challenging. Not A, arrow, B, or not B, arrow, A. Okay? And let's take a look at some examples for you guys. Okay, so you have here your symbolization key is A equals Lakia is a dog and Laika is a mammal, okay, for B. So translate the following: if Laika is a dog, then she is a mammal. And this is from your book. Okay, so this obviously is pretty simple, right? You're just gonna take it as is, you know, Laika is a dog is A, and then B is Laika is a mammal, so then A, arrow, B, right? Pretty simple. Okay, well, what about this example? Laika is a mammal only if she is a dog. Okay, well, we have to take a closer look now. So we have Laika is a mammal, B, right? And then she is a dog, that's A. And then we said the only if doesn't change the order, and we just take it as is. So it'll be B, arrow, A. Okay? So pretty simple. What about this one? So you have your answer right here. But I just wanted to show you that same thing. Laika is a dog only if she is a mammal. So again, so you have A for Laika, and then she's a mammal for B, and then for only if we don't change the order, and we just put A, arrow, B. So I hope that was clear for you guys. I definitely missed the most points on my midterm because of that conditional, so just keep a close eye to that. Okay. Another key concept that's really big is entailment. That was definitely the most tricky for me on the midterm as well. And this is the definition from the book. So it's pretty much like the sentences A1, A2, AN. All of these are like premises. So if all these premises entail the sentence C, the conclusion, if there's no valuation of the atomic sentence, right, there's no like option that gives us this case when we do our truth table, which makes all of these premises, A1, A2, AN, true, and the conclusion false. Okay, so what does that really mean? It's just like if you find that the premises are true, but the conclusion false, then there's no entailment, okay? Any other case does not matter. So if I see in one sentence, true, 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 false, it's not an entailment. But if I see anything other than that, it is an entailment. Okay, so let's take a look at an example. So you guys saw this in your homework, pretty much given an example like this, and you're asked, you know, do these premises, does, you know, this, you know, not B, arrow, A, you know, open parenthesis, A, disjunction B, comma, so that's another sentence. That's like a whole new column that you're gonna have to start. Not B, that's another like sentence by itself. And then does that entail A by itself? Okay. So I have this truth table set up for you guys. If you want to review how to do the truth table, definitely check out my previous YouTube video, and that'll help you out. I'll include that in the email I'll send you guys. Okay, so we have this set up where pretty much we have our first sentence, right? And then the second sentence, I just put a little division in between. And then does this entail A by itself? Okay. So I went ahead and did it for you guys, and we're just gonna look at the green, right? Why is that, right? Because that's the main connective. That's the answer that we got this from, right? We're comparing our answers now. The result that we get from each premise, and does it entail this conclusion, in this case, A, okay? So we have to look to see if there's an option where it's true, true, false, okay? So let's take a look at the first option. True, false, true. No, right? This is still an entailment. We haven't found an evaluation where it's not an entailment, where it's true, true, false, not yet. True, true, true. Can we stop here? Can we say, okay, we found that it's for sure an entailment because we found a true, 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 we're done. No, you have to keep going. You have to find an option where it's true, true, false. Just because you found it all true doesn't mean you're for sure know that it's not an entailment, okay? Or that it is an entailment. You don't for sure know that yet. There could be an option where it's true, true, false, okay? So now let's take a look at the next example. True, false, false. So again, there's no, the second premise is not true, but the conclusion is false. But because the second premise is not true, it's still an entailment. And then we go through again. The first one is false, the second one is true, but the conclusion is false. Again, both premises or the beginning part of the argument have to be true in order for it, and then the last one is false in order for there not to be an entailment. Since we have not found that pattern, this example is an entailment, okay? So let me ask you a quick question. What if you found false, false, false? Does that not an entailment? Is that not an entailment? No, that is still an entailment because it's not under the pattern of true, true, false, okay? So, so this is kind of similar to validity, right? You have to we're finding a case where it's invalid, right? To show that it's not an entailment. We're finding a case where the premises are true, but the conclusion is false. And since we haven't found that, since sometimes the premises themselves end up being false and the conclusion itself ends up being true or false, then there's no, then pretty much there is an entailment. We haven't found a case where it's invalid. I hope this was a little bit helpful for you guys. Again, if you're a little bit confused on more general topics, be sure to check out my previous YouTube videos. And yeah, email me if you have any questions between now and the exam. I will have an extra session tomorrow before the exam from 1 to 2. I'll send you guys the Zoom link for that. Be sure to ask me any questions early on in advance so I can make sure I can help you guys as much as I can. And good luck on your midterm.